The Makers in Minnesota holiday gift box is something I've been thinking about for a long time. I'm Stephanie Hansen, and the whole reason I do the podcast is to introduce people to the cool maker scene happening in the Twin Cities. I love being the one to tell you to buy the soda crackler candles because they smell amazing, or to try the nuts of the north from Isadore Nuts because not only will they be the best chai nuts you've ever had, but 50% of her workforce are people with disabilities. Tasha's company is helping people reach their goals by teaching them life skills, and that's not something you might know just looking at the package. Bear Honey is all about the bees, of course, but I specifically chose their vanilla and hot honeys as they are wonderful for baking or on a cheese board. And Lost Capital Hot Sauce is a fermented sauce. These guys are so entertaining to listen talk about hot sauce, and they mentor other sauce creators in town to share the love. K-Mama's sauce, Korean ketchup, has long been a favorite of mine, as has Heather's Dirty Goodness seasoning that adorns my Thanksgiving turkey every year. Even something as simple as fresh peanut butter turns into magic when you add apples and cinnamon, and it's 100% fresh, no preservatives. Cheryl has made this batch just for me and for you, and Gustola granola has been a personal favorite of mine for a long time, as well as BT McElrath's salty dog bites and their Annie B caramels. Even sponges are superior when made in Minnesota, right? And if you haven't tried biltong yet, you know, the jerky that is marinated with 6 timeless ingredients that are then air-dried and thinly sliced to perfection with no added sugars. The result is a truly authentic Minnesota-made snack by way of Southern Africa, and the first 150 boxes sold will find a bonus bag in their box. All of the products in the Makers in Minnesota box were curated by me due to their tastiness or the stories that made them uniquely Minnesotan. And each of these folks have shared their story with me on the Makers in Minnesota podcast. We're going into our 4th season, and there are lots of boxes you can buy out there to ship to friends and family. But please consider the one that's made in Minnesota and curated by me so you can share the stories through the podcast of these makers. Boxes are $65 and can be found at loveminnesotabox.com/gifting or by the link on my website at stephaniesdish.com, or you can also find links to order on the Makers in Minnesota Facebook page. Delight in 12 Minnesota-made items and share your love of the great maker community in our state and help support the makers that make it great. Boxes are $65 and can be found at loveminnesotabox.com/gifting, or you can also find links to order on the Makers in Minnesota Facebook page. Hi, this is Stephanie Hansen here with the Makers of Minnesota, and I am here today with Casey Kai, and we are working on and very excited to have the first Makers of Minnesota holiday gift box. Casey, thank you for letting us put K-Mama sauce in the box.
Thank you so much. I am super stoked about this.
I am too. I've been doing makers for a long time, and I always kind of wanted to do a box, but I never really had the ability to put it all together. And then I met my friend Alan, and he was like, hey, I have a box company. I'll help you do this. And you just give me a list of the makers you want to work with. And we went out, we bought all the products. So I was glad to support everybody. And we're giving people a little taste of curated Makers of Minnesota. There's you and 11 other things in the box. So it's pretty chock full for $65. Can you tell people that maybe aren't familiar with K-Mama sauce what it is?
Sure. Well, first of all, thank you for allowing us to be a part of this box, just because it's, as you said, it's a curated box, and it's, I'm actually having friends from out of state, from Hawaii, visit, and it's how do we get people connected to local makers? And This box is exactly that. So I think it's just a wonderful way for people to get acquainted to Minnesota makers. So you've been, obviously doing your podcast, and you have kind of this critical mass of folks, and what better way to kind of bring it all together in a really neat and tidy holiday box. So thank you for letting us be a part of that.
Absolutely. So when I say K-Mama sauce, people don't know what that is. So can you describe it for them?
Yes, absolutely. It's a Korean hot sauce, typically put on a Korean traditional dish called bibimbap. It's rice and veggies. That's the intended use. But now the wonderful thing is, because it's vegan, it's gluten-free, it's MSG-free, all that healthy components, people use it as a more flavorful and spicier soy sauce. So kind of if you want to have more Asian and Korean flavor enhancer, this is what they use.
I always call it the Korean ketchup, and I hope that's not like
Yes.
offensive, but I think you told me that you called it that once because it's that texture, it's that
Mm,
flavor. And
mm.
I mean, people like kids like it, adults like it, everybody loves the K Mama sauce.
Yes, I hope that sticks around too. Hope Heinz isn't listening, but yeah, as much as people can think of it as a staple, I just wanted for at least the general populace to get comfortable with saying, you know what, Korean hot sauce, it's regularly in my fridge. They're familiar with gochujang, which is the base, the red pepper paste. So I would love that to be a part of kind of the learning experience with K-mama sauce in this box.
Yeah. And I think, I love hot stuffs and I'm a real, like, I can go pretty hot, but,
Mm.
I don't feel like it's even that hot. And your mild is really like approachable. So if you are thinking about it and thinking like, oh, it's super hot, it's just like the right amount of hot, not super hot. The mild is like barely hot at all, but you really
Mhm.
get that umami flavor that amps up anything that you're eating. I just love it so much.
Thank you. No, we were just at a hot sauce festival this past weekend. I kid you not, but great timing. We had to just say we're a flavorful, what do you call it? A savory
Yeah.
hot sauce. And I think that umami, like you said, in the middle, it's sweet, up front because Korean food can tend to be it's a little sweet, but not overly. And I think you're right. We say the mild is like a 3 out of a 10, and then the spicy is like a 4. So neither of them are, even within that medium level of spice is very, like you said, it's just really accessible.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, thanks for being in the box. I hope that we produced 300 boxes. So hopefully we'll bring
Woohoo.
you 300 new customers, Casey.
Oh, thank you so much, Stephanie. Appreciate it.
Absolutely. And if you want to get the box, you can find it at loveminnesotabox.com/gifting. Or, of course, I'll have a link to how you can purchase it on stephaniesdish.com and get one for your friends. They can ship them out. It's $65 and you can ship them anywhere around the country. And again, it's filled with products that I feel good about promoting, stories I've told on the Makers podcast, and people that I know really appreciate your support. So go ahead and get the Makers of Minnesota holiday gift box. And thanks, Casey.
Thank you.
Bye bye.
All right. Bye bye.